Jakab, all my supporters are worth shit. A rather ill-judged line to take from the once radically right, now radically left-wing Péter Jakab, who regards those who vote for him with some contempt. These days there's a peculiar, perceptible development coming to the fore in the section of the Hungarian media from which the opposition don't run screaming like girls. Don't get me wrong, that's still the larger part of the Hungarian media, so there's no need to start getting teary-eyed about the fate of the poor Luftwaffe. When they complain, they do so to gain sympathy, but it's all an act. Of late, several members of the Luftwaffe have been doing the rounds, appearing on an interview show hosted by a man who was once a winning contestant on a Hungarian reality show, Real World. This man, Zsolti, now interviews people on his show on the sofa. Various people, celebrities and the like, and more recently, political actors. The premise of the show is simple enough. The host and his guest sitting on a sofa, him asking, them answering questions. As might be expected, it's all very chummy and not too taxing. This is as sweet as Granny's custard with no sharp implements allowed. From the opening scenes, the word that most obviously comes to mind is cloying. Watching anything this twee will probably affect your blood sugar levels, so on your own head be it. Somehow ignoring the toothache-inducing saccharine current which runs through Zsolti's show, what passes for the cream of the crop in the Luftwaffe has already been paraded on Zsolti's sofa. Another addition to the list of celebrities was that most chameleonic of Hungarian pygmy politicians, Péter Jakab. A man who was once to be found on the far right of the political spectrum, but now who snuggles down in the bosom of the left. Today, I'd like to highlight a rather strange idea which he expounded, sat, side saddle, on Zsolti's sofa, when the subject of his party's supporters became the topic of conversation. It seems that Jakab has an almost unbelievably low opinion of those who have supported him to date.
Szerintem, hogyha a DK-t megmérjük, hogy hol népszerűek, akkor jellemzően a nagyvárosokban, ahol az emberek azért tájékozódnak, érdeklődnek a politika hogyléte felől.
Jakab, seduced by the comfy sofa, if not by Zsolti's pancake makeup, decided to reveal his true feelings. That DK supporters are well-informed urbanites? Well, I've not seen any real evidence of that, but there you go. But warming to his theme, Jakab then sticks the boot into the very people who put him where he is and where he, presumably, would like to remain, taking home millions every month whilst cultivating an image of a hard man continually fighting the good fight on behalf of the poor, like a cross between Robin Hood and Ernesto Che Guevara, without the silly hat or TB, we presume. Jakab's feelings about his own supporters are nothing short of disgraceful. If I were a Jobbik supporter, I'd certainly be offended.
A mi szavazóink inkább a kisvárosias, falusias környezetben találhatóak, és úgy nem biztos, hogy annyira utána ásnak annak, hogy egy politikai pártnak éppen kik a képviselői.
This is a man, ostensibly a man of the people, a man of the countryside where people aren't nearly as puffy as those degenerate fruit feelers to be found in the cities. And yet, having been here in the big city for a while, he's now turning his back on the very people who supported him. Jakab has now turned his back so decidedly on his roots that he's subjugated himself wholeheartedly to the undisputed leader of the Luftwaffe, Fleto Gyurcsány. Jakab, astonishingly enough, has agreed to boost the voters of his elders and betters at the same time as slagging off those who previously voted for him. Jakab is now attacking his own supporters for lacking the intellectual desire to maintain an interest in anything other than the most superficial level of political life. Jobbik supporters, according to Jakab, don't need to be heeded. As far as he's concerned, they'd vote for a sheep if it was wearing a Jobbik t-shirt. That is about as insulting as you can get. Politicians depend wholly on their ability to appeal to people. It appears that Jakab is now enamored to such an extent by the lights of the intellectual big city dwellers that he's prepared to stick the boot into his traditional support base. Human nature resolves to judge people by their words and actions. Jakab's behavior and attitude are more than sad.